Okay, so welcome and thank you everybody for coming to the Clifton News and Community BOE Candidates Forum. I am really happy that we get to speak with all of you. We are missing Dr. Lucy Danny, Frank Casper, and Dan Gaudette, who is home recovering from surgery. But two of them sent statements, so we will hear from them, sort of. So I just want to quickly go over how this is going to run. Each candidate has 2 minutes to give an opening statement. For questions, there will be 90-second time limits on answering. And then at the end, everybody has 1 minute to give some sort of final closing statement. The questions are almost entirely pulled from people in the community who responded to different posts that we had put up, asking the questions that they wanted to know about. So I just took those, I put them in a list, and then for determining who got what questions, because we decided in order to not have 6 or it could have been 9 people answering the same question, and let's face it, for a lot of these, most people will answer similarly. So rather than do that, we broke it up so that for most of the questions, 2 of you will be given the same question, but then the next 2 people will have a different question so that we get to hear about a wider variety of topics. And it's not so much of people just sort of repeating the same sentiments from other people. The way I did that was I started by listing all of your names in your ballot order. The very first question that you will be asked of everybody. And then from then I took 1 person from the top, and then now I'm forgetting if I went the first 2 and then the next 2 and then the third 2, or if I took 1 from the top and 1 from the bottom, but it was like that. I just was sort of matching up different pairs of names based on the order that you were originally listed in. So not super controlled, but somewhat organized just based on ballot order. And then for the questions, I just went through the way I had them listed as I had pulled them off of the group. Are there any questions before I introduce our moderator about how this will go? Okay. Oh, yes. Marlena.
Who's keeping time?
Yvonne, you are? Yes?
Okay, so you'll let us know when the time's up.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm going to try to give you a 30-second warning when you are winding down, but that counts on me remembering that I also need to keep time. So please don't absolutely count on me to do that, but I am going to try. All right. So our moderator tonight is Yvonne Way. He is not in Clifton or from Clifton. He is a non-involved third party, which we all thought was the best way to go on this. And I'm going to let him briefly introduce himself, and then we'll get going.
Thank you for that, Tova. Hello, again, my name is Yvonne Way. I'm a social and community activist here in Fair Lawn, but northern New Jersey. My claim to fame is I was a 2-year president of the NAACP Youth and Division president. Youth and college and youth division president. Oh my, it's been a while and it's a tongue twister. We have a family printing business here. My mom's the boss. So, we do printing materials for business and nonprofits. And I have been in northern New Jersey my whole life, minus the 2 days I was born in New York City. So thank you for everyone joining the call, this panel. And I'm really looking forward to your answers. And again, just a reminder, you'll each have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. And the first person will be Daniel Gaudette, which he couldn't be here. He's recovering from surgery. So I'm going to read his introduction. He wishes and expresses gratitude for all well wishes and prayers for his speedy recovery. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dan. He was raised in Dracut, Massachusetts, and attended Dracut Public Schools and graduated from Dracut High School, class of 1982. At the age of 13, he started working for the family business Gaudette & Co. Inc. GCI constructed roads, sidewalks, parking lots, and driveways. He worked for GCI for 20 years, learning all facets of highway and bridge construction. After leaving the family business, he joined Local 56 Pile Drivers Union, Boston, Mass, to work on the Big Dig. He spent the next 3 years working different phases of the massive project. And in 1999, Local 56 sent him to J. Cashman Inc. to work as a pile driver on the North Portal, which is located at the south abutment of the Leonard P. Zachman Bunker Hill Bridge. That was the start of a 10-year career with JCI that had him involved with projects throughout the continental United States of America. He was privileged to work alongside the Army Corps of Engineers for these projects. He has been a resident of Clifton since 2015, when his family moved from North Carolina to take care of his sister-in-law during her final breast cancer battles. One of the main reasons Dan is running for the BOE is to give back to our community and to ensure the safety of every one of our students. He has witnessed countless pedestrian and vehicular accidents during the school day at both drop-off and pickup times. He believes no child should fear arriving to or leaving from school. If our children are scared, learning becomes difficult. One of the ways to accomplish this is to make drop-off or pickup spots safer through better, more visible marked crosswalks, specific drop-off lanes, even parking structures where possible. We as a district also need to provide our children more comprehensive mental health, education, and support. Our children have been through unprecedented events and need to have the resources to process them. Lastly, Dan believes every child in Clifton is important and wants the best quality education for every student, because we are one Clifton and we can build a better future for all students together. Next will be Robert DiArca.
Yes, thank you very much. I am a lifelong resident of Clifton, 67 years old. The father of RJ and Melissa, both graduates of Clifton High School. I reside in Clifton Center with my wife of 38 years, Patricia, who is also a CHS graduate, as am I, class of 72. I am a retired human resources professional with over 25 years in the field, and as such, I have extensive experience in affirmative action, equal employment opportunity, labor relations, employee relations, and budgeting. I attended and graduated with a BS in political science from the St. Thomas University School in Miami, Florida in 1976. And in 1977, I attended Potomac School of Law in Washington, D.C., where I attained credits towards a Juris Doctor degree. I was a two-time member of the Clifton Board of Education from 1981 to 1984 and 1998 to 1999. I am also a past president of the Clifton Library Board, a member of the Clifton Stallion Soccer Club Board of Trustees, and now a trustee emeritus of the Stallion Soccer Club. I am a soccer coach, have been a baseball coach in the Southern Division Little League from 1976 to 1998. And I was honored as an Outstanding Young Man of America in 1984. I was inducted into the Clifton Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame in 2019. I'm number 2 on the ballot, but I'm first for our kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Next is Alan Paris.
Hi, good evening. I'm Alan Paris. I'm number 3 on the ballot. I'm a 3rd generation lifelong Clifton resident. My daughter, the 4th generation, also lives here in Clifton, along with my 5th generation granddaughter, who's 3 years old. She's a big part of the reason why I'm running today. I attended Clifton Public Schools, K-12, as well as my daughter, K-12. My major activity in high school was the Mustang Band, marching band and other aspects of it. There I met my wife, Karen, who I'm still here with for nearly 40 years. Karen's also a lifelong Clifton resident and a product of Clifton Schools K through 12. I'm a graduate of Montclair State. I have my Bachelor of Science in Biology, my minor in Education, I hold a New Jersey State teaching certificate for K-12 science. I'm the founder, a trustee, and a past president of the Clifton Mustang Band Alumni Association. Also the founder, general manager, and a member of the Clifton Community Band. I recently retired end of June from a 37-year career. The company name is Leica Microsystems. It's an optical and digital imaging company, scientific company. There I had a variety of roles. Started out as an applications engineer. I've been in management positions involving marketing, sales, product management, customer support, a variety of roles. I've also had P&L responsibility for a $40 million budget. So I know a little bit about financial management, and I think that can also help serve me well in a position on the board. The reason I'm running for the board, it's something that I've wanted to do really for a very long time, but felt I didn't have the time to really dedicate to doing it properly. Now that I'm retired, I do. And I also have a great motivator to make sure our schools are the very best they can be for my 3-year-old granddaughter who's on her way to school here in Clifton. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Next is Mark Brunciak.
Thank you. To the city of Clifton, my name is Mark Brunciak, and I am running for a seat on the Clifton Board of Education. I am the son of immigrants. My father was a refugee. I am a lifelong resident of Clifton, graduated Clifton High School in 1999, hold a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting from Ramapo College of New Jersey, and have a passion for donating to various children's charities. My favorites among them being St. Jude Children's Hospital and Alex's Lemonade Stand. I have advocated for the needs of our community's children for the past 15 plus months as my own child, as well as several nieces and nephews and godchildren all attend Clifton Public Schools. I have attended and commented at every single Board of Ed meeting since October 2020, with the exception of possibly 1 or 2. And my running for school board will allow me to continue working and advocating for the education of all children in our community. I believe the school board must be responsive and receptive to parents, staff, students, and the community at large, encouraging an open dialogue. The board must take input from all groups and weigh the facts before making a decision. A board member is a trustee of a community that elects him or her. The trustee must be accessible and willing to collaborate with all members of the community. That includes all district staff. Anyone that comes before the board has the right to be heard, not just a number just to speak. A school board member must build public understanding, support, and participation. A key issue for school boards is to create a long-term vision, mapping a course that provides the necessary opportunities students need to reach their full potential. By working together, we can all share in the knowledge and satisfaction that we have provided for the educational needs of all children, and have built a district where students, parents, teachers, and staff feel like they are welcome and they belong. I ask for your support because it's time for a new voice to put our children first on line number 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mark. Next will be Frank Casper, but he cannot be here and did not submit anything for us to read. So next will be Avraham Eisenman.
Oh, unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yeah, I had to unmute myself. Sorry about that. Hi, good evening. I'm Avraham Eisenman. I'm running for Board of Ed here in Clifton. On November 2nd, I'm number 6 on the ballot. First, thank you to Tova and all the moderators at Clifton News and Community for arranging this event. Thank you to Ivan for agreeing to be moderator. I'd just like to ask everybody to join me in a virtual applause for all our heroic Clifton teachers and school staff who on every day give it all to their students, especially over the last 15 to 18 months, whatever it's been for COVID. So much appreciated to them. A little bit about myself. I'm a married father of 3. I have 2 boys, age 7 and 6, as well as a 20-month-old daughter. I'm a nurse practitioner. I specialize in emergency medicine. I chose to run under the slogan representing us all, and that is what I intend to do if elected, is represent every one of the stakeholders in the Clifton Board of Education and in educating the children of Clifton. This includes taxpayers who don't necessarily have children currently in school or had children in school or don't ever have children in the school, but they are still a part and parcel of it and be physically responsible with the funds that are given to us to educate the children. I will also fight for the services needed for children who learn differently, make sure they get those services they need, be it in Clifton Public Schools or in the times that sometimes kids need to go to other schools, make sure they are getting the best education to reach their full potential. Lastly, I pledge to be transparent with all the stakeholders to ensure they're heard. That includes parents, taxpayers, principals, superintendents, teachers, and make sure we're doing the best for our students. I'm running to represent the people, and I would be honored with your support as one of your 3 candidates on November 2nd by voting number 6, Abraham Eisman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next will be number 7, Dr. Lucy Danny, who cannot come, but sent in an introduction. Lucy Danny is running for re-election and is number 7 on the ballot. She is a lifelong resident of Clifton and a teacher for over 20 years. She has served 10 years on the Clifton Board of Education. She has also served on the board as president and vice president. She continues to serve on several board committees and chairs the Municipal Alliance Committee, which is a mutual partnership between the council and the school district for the purpose of sharing costs and services that will save taxpayer dollars. She has earned her doctorate in educational leadership and holds 2 master's degrees, one in education and the other in educational technology. She has also earned the title of a certified board member through the New Jersey School Boards Association in an effort to become a more knowledgeable board member. She's a Fulbright scholar and author of educational research. All these accomplishments have helped her in decision-making on the board. Her goals, if re-elected, are ensuring Clifton schools have access to quality and safe facilities, advocating academic rigor for all students, endorsing initiatives that address pandemic-related learning gaps, and social or emotional wellness measures, overseeing that relief funding is directed toward student learning and being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. She states it would be an honor to serve the citizens of Clifton again, so consider her for your vote. Lucy Danny, number 7 on the ballot. Next will be Vita Marlena Cowan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Vita Marlena Cowan, number 8 on the ballot. Tova, I just want to thank you for the opportunity of being part of this. It was a great idea. So I've been a resident of Clifton since 2006. My husband is George Cowan. He has been a lifelong resident with many of his other family members who live in Clifton. He has been he's a Clifton High graduate from class of 2000. He is a staff member at the high school as well as a lacrosse coach for the last 18 years. I have 4 boys, 3 of which are in the public school right now, and 1 soon to follow in a couple of years. He's about a year old now. I am a payroll and benefits coordinator currently at Glen Ridge Board of Education. My experience in a board office has been over the last 10 years, so I know a little bit of the ins and outs of how to run a district. I've been involved in budgets. I've been involved in planning, staff-related issues, so I have some experience there. I'm also the School 14 HSA president and have been for the last 3 years and been on the board for about 5 years. I am involved in many activities that my boys participate, anywhere from junior lacrosse to junior Mustang, wrestling to Cub Scouts, you name it. I am a graduate of Montclair State University with my bachelor's degree in psychology. I'm currently 6 credits shy of my master's degree in management. While pursuing this degree, I am trying to get my business administrative cert. So I've taken classes such as school law, finance, accounting, etc. My main concern is our children. The staff and the district has given my family so much that I want to give back to them. I want the best education for all of our children in the district, all while supporting our staff. Please remember to vote number 8. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least is Judy Basford.
Thank you. My name is Judith Basford. I'm number 9 on the ballot. For those that don't know me, I work in higher education as an admissions community associate at Berkeley College. I also am the virtual trainer for the Association for Special Children and Families. It's an advocacy agency. I moved to Clifton in 1985. I first bought my first house on Edwards Court, and then we moved to Mountain View Drive in 1994. So I've been living in Clifton for a total of 36 years. I chose to stay here. I bought 2 houses here. It was a great community. It still is, and it has a great school system. My community involvement, it goes far beyond the reaches of the city. I'm in the state and the county levels on school boards. I was a certified board member in 2013, 2014. I got my master board member certification. And in 2016, I received my certified board leader. I have over 10 years of training with school boards. I'm the immediate past president for the Passaic County School Boards Association. I was past president for 4 years, vice president for 3 years. I'm on the legislative committee, the delegates committee, the urban school boards, sub-resolution committee. I've received the 2019 to 2020 New Jersey School Board Member of the Year. I sat as the vice president from 2019 to 2020. I'm on the policy committee. I'm on finance. I'm the HSA liaison, legislative personnel, residency, security, student disciplinary committee, technology, the referendum committee, and I rotated on negotiations and also the uniform exploration committee. I've served as a vice president for Clifton Against Substance Abuse since 2006. I was a volunteer for the Clifton Health Department, vice president of the CHS, HSA, recording secretary for Woodrow Wilson, home and school president, School 5 for 4 years. I've worked on Clifton Against Clifton Residents on Call, the Clifton Recreation Department, Red Hat Angels. I volunteer for SPAN, which is a statewide parent advocacy network. And I was the treasurer for the Clifton Service Unit for the Girl Scouts of America from 1998 to 2004. And before that, I was a volunteer first aid, or in this Clifton, excuse me, I was a volunteer first aid squad from 1979 to 1981 in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Miss
What
Judy,
Yes,
thank
I'm
you
sorry.
so much. You're over.
I have to click in. I'm sorry. I have to click in and out. I apologize.
No worries. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for those great introductions. So we're going to get started. The first question is for everyone. So I'm going to ask it once. If you need me to repeat it, please let me know. And it's going to go again in order of your ballot. So Robert, you're going to be answering this first. If you are elected or re-elected, do you intend to remain on the board for more than one term, or is it a stepping stone to other elected offices?
I can definitively say that it will be a one term at a time type of a situation. I have no ambition for higher office. Looking forward to serving the students and families of Clifton as a Board of Education Commissioner, and have no, again, ambition to seek higher office.
Thank you. Next, Alan Paris.
Thank you. I am not seeking this position as a stepping stone to anything. Simply, it's just my desire to serve the community, to help make our school system the best it can be. And as far as additional terms, I would enjoy that very much. Again, it will depend on the voters and the kind of job that I do.
Thank you so much. Next, Mark.
Yeah, I was motivated to run for this position based on the decisions that the current board has made. So I am strictly running for Clifton Board of Ed. I have no interest in the council. I don't have issues with the council. That's not where my issues are. I have issues with, I want children to have options, and I want to have the best for kids. And my feeling has been that this board hasn't been able to get it done for the past few years. And that's why I'm here, to put our children first. I have no other ambition for higher office at all. I'm here to serve, to put the children first, like it says right under my name for the ballot. And that's what I'm looking forward to do. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next, Avraham.
Yeah, I have no further goals. I'm running to represent all members of Clifton, all the stakeholders, and that's my only goal. If in 3 years from now, the voters feel I did well and I have the energy to keep doing it, I will hope to run again, and I hope they would vote for me like they do now, they do again then. I have no further plans at this time.
Great, thank you. Ms. Vita, real quick before I can, do you want me to call you Vita or Marlena?
Vita's fine.
Vita, okay, Vita, you're up.
Okay, so let's be honest. I have 4 boys in the district. My youngest is a year old. If elected, I would love to continue to try to be reelected. My boys are going to be going through this district for a while. My husband has been a staff member for 18 years. He plans on retiring for Clifton. I want to stay with the Board of Ed because it's going to benefit my children and it's going to benefit the rest of our district.
Great, thank you. Judy, you're
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. You can call me Judith or Judy, whatever you call me, Jude. This is going to be my 4th term if I'm worthy enough of the Clifton voters' decision to elect me. I've always been an independent voice. I've always been a voice of a lot of the parents and people in the community. I have a great relationship with the superintendent and the staff. And just to make the announcement that this will probably be my last term. I am 61 years old and I've decided that it's time to do some other things in my life. So if I'm lucky and I'm worthy to repeat another term, I will be there. I will never stop being an advocate for the children with special needs, nor the community as well. So you will see me either on the side of the dais or that side of the dais. I will be around because I am not the kind of person to stay quiet. If I see an issue, I will raise my voice. So this will be my last term if I'm lucky enough to get the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. The next question is for just Robert and Alan. The question is, if you have or had a child in Clifton Public Schools, what made you want to run? And what issues do you want to correct and why?
Well, I've had 2 children who've gone through the system. Both of them received exemplary educations. I am running because I feel as though my 45 years of dedication to the youth of Clifton should continue, and I would like to have it continue as a member of the board. I feel as though I have plenty to offer, even at the ripe young age of 67. So I would like to have that opportunity.
And the follow-up question is, what issues do you want to correct and why?
I think that, as a person who's on the sidelines right now, it's difficult to pinpoint the issues that I'd like to see corrected. I am very familiar with our outstanding, fairly new superintendent. I believe in him, and I would like to see him, sit down with the new commissioners, if there are new commissioners, and give us the hot points that we need to follow through on.
Great, thank you so much. Alan, do you need me to repeat?
No, I think I got it.
Okay.
I was very happy to have my daughter go through the Clifton school system, as I've experienced it firsthand when I went through it. I'm a graduate of the class of 1977. And our school district has just such a diverse offering for students, especially the high school. And one thing that I found my home in, everybody kind of finds their home in a little different niche in the high school, be it sports or the arts, etc. Mine was music and the band. And ironically, my daughter found her way there as well, and that became part of her family and her experience. And I just think the variety of opportunities at Clifton were really what made me want to have my daughter be raised through the school system. As far as issues, I think there's a few that are burning. First and foremost, I think the safety and security of our buildings. I know there are some projects in place with the new referendum that got passed as far as safety security vestibules, etc. But we certainly have to have a safe learning environment. Also, the curriculum, I think our curriculum needs to be modernized for today. I think there's opportunities in some vocational training that we can explore. And last but not least, I think we need to keep all our extracurriculars strong. That's where a lot of students find their home and their passions in life.
Great, thank you both. Next set of questions will be for Mark and Abraham. So it's a longer question, so each of you will get asked and then you'll please answer. So Mark first, special services can be very difficult to navigate when trying to get help for a child with learning challenges, developmental delays, or access challenges. Where do these issues fit on your personal list of goals for the district?
It's very important to me. I think we need to have some sort of intake coordinator specifically for these children who are most at risk. And these types of kids, they need to have someone who specializes in it. So they point the parents in the direction where they can get their kids the proper education. It's absolutely critical. So information and communication to that parent in as an efficient manager as efficiently as possible to get to that parent, because these are obviously children, again, who are most at risk and they need a lot of help. So I think something of an intake coordinator for these kids who need specialized services would be of great help to the parents and or guardians. Thank you.
Thank you. Abraham, do you need me to ask the question again?
Sure.
Was that a yes?
Yeah, sure. Thank
Okay, you're welcome. So special service can be very difficult to navigate when trying to get help for children with learning challenges, developmental delays, or access challenges. Where do these issues fit on your personal list of goals for the district?
This is one of my main reasons for running. My eldest son has special needs. I went through the process of getting him evaluated, getting him an IEP. I recently had to renew it last year, as every couple of years they have to obviously be redone, make sure we're still meeting the needs of the kid. And there's a lot of challenges to it. It's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of meetings. It's a hard process. And thankfully my son's doing very well and I've appreciated that help, but I can understand the challenge for other parents. And that's something that's very near and dear to me. We have to do better. We have to make sure every kid who needs the help is being evaluated. If a teacher notices it, let's get that information to the parents. Say, hey, let's get your son or daughter evaluated. Let's see what services we can offer them. On those occasions, the child needs to go out of district. Certain kids can't be met in the district. That should be not a stumbling block, but that should be the option. Even though it does cost money, and I am trying to be physically responsible with all the money, taxpayers' money, but that is something we have to ensure that every child is getting it. And these are federal mandates that every child gets a free and an education that meets their needs. So this is definitely high on my priority list. It's something I will fight for from day one on the board if elected. And yeah.
Thank you both. Next question will be for Vita and Judy. Clifton is culturally and ethnically diverse, yet almost none of our teachers are Black, Indigenous, or other people of color. How would you address this issue at the recruiting and hiring level?
So one way we can do something is perhaps have a hiring fair, job fair. We could go to local colleges and let them know that we are looking for groups, all diverse groups. I think that would be a good thing to have them talk to recent graduates from colleges that have teaching certs and tell them that we're looking for a large variety. Explain to them how diverse our education system is, how diverse our district is, and try to get more people who might be interested.
Great, thank you. Judy?
Yes, I'm glad. First of all, I'm going to say that I don't speak for the board or represent the board. These are my personal views and opinions, and I can speak from experience because this conversation has already been facilitated at a local meeting. The superintendent has been discussing with the board that he wants to start an academy for homegrown teachers in district that represent our population. We have many students that can go to Montclair, to go to Willie P. It's right in our own backyard. Even though I work for a different school, we are not teaching school. So what I can speak to is that we are in need of diverse. We have 65 languages that are spoken to inside this district. We need people that represent what we have in our schools. So we have been discussing how we're going to do this. So he's going to start with a ingrown academy to start promoting the students to go to teaching skills and to teaching paths as well. So what I want to say is that it's starting to happen. We're working on it, but the conversation needs to be expanded. And if I stay on the board, that's one of my goals. Thank you.
Thank you both. Alan and Avraham, next questions are for you. A petition with nearly 5,000 signatures has been circulating, asking the Board of Education to change the names of our two middle schools, Woodrow Wilson and Christopher Columbus, to people whose past are not fraught with racism and colonizing. Separate from the issue of financing it, would you support such a change? Why or why not?
Who's going first? Me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I would support changing it because the history of these two individuals, although very well-known figures in our history, both have had issues both with racism issues and in the case of Columbus with certainly his misuse of indigenous people. So I think it would be appropriate to rename those schools. It seems to be something that's going on throughout the U.S. A lot of correction has been going on these types of issues. And I think that could be rather easily done. And I also don't think it necessarily would cost a lot of money to do so.
Great, thank you. Avraham?
So this speaks very much to part of my platform of transparency and listening to all the stakeholders. Parents are one of, if not the most important stakeholder, as it's their children we are educating. I also feel we should name schools after local heroes, show the kids, hey, these are people who grew up in your neighborhood, just like you, went to these schools and now have gone on to great things. So if we can make it, and that inspires the kid, hey, I went to school of Joe somebody who ended up, or Shelly, whoever, and they ended up being great and they came from Clifton. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that. That can be inspiring in itself. So 100%, we have to listen to our stakeholders, the parents, and we should name them after people who inspire the kids to greatness, not to colonizing indigenous people. So that's where I stand.
Thank you both. Next question is going to be for Robert and Judy. As a board member, your role is to set policy. What 3 policies or topics are of the highest priority in terms of needing change?
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. As a board member, your role is
Right.
to set policy. What 3 policies or topics are of the highest priority in terms of needing change?
Huh.
And Robert, you go first, please.
You want me to
Okay.
go first? Okay, thank you.
Whatever, ladies first.
Okay, so I sat on the policy for the policy committee for 8 years. Just recently with Dr. Robitaille coming in, we had a lot of policies that were not addressed. I mean, a lot of policies. It was prior to him coming, we just had a policy committee that would not move anything forward. I believe there was 47 policies that needed to be updated and changed. You want to know about 3 policies that I think that need to be addressed?
Yes.
Personally, I don't speak for the board. I have to say that. I'm sorry if it gets annoying to people, but these are my personal views and opinions. I would like to address a student dress code. That is one thing that I need to address. I would like to get a policy on diversity as well. And the other one would be a professional development for our staff. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, could you please repeat the question? Please repeat the question.
What 3 policies or topics are the highest priority in terms of needing change?
I would say that one of the things that I'd like to see changed has to do with the fact that we seem to lose a lot of our employees to other districts. As a 25-year plus human resources professional, I feel like retention of employees is something that we need to do better on. So I would like to make that my number one topic. Number two, I would say the dress code would be something that I'd like to see reviewed and possibly updated. And third, probably the staff training and development possibilities. I think that needs to be looked at and enhanced for our staff.
Thank you both. Next set of questions is going to be for Mark and Vita. It's a two-parter, so if you need me to repeat anything, please let me know. Okay, question is, given that masks protect others, not so much the wearer, how do you feel about the governor's mask mandate for schools? And what other COVID precautions would you support, if any?
Do you want me or Vita to go first?
Mark, you please.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I spoke yesterday. I'd be a little bit more receptive to the governor's mandates if he actually practiced his own mandates, because on October 7th, which I showed last night at the forum we had, here's a picture of Governor Murphy maskless at a potential super spreader event with members of the NJEA. Here are a bunch of members of the NJEA in a now deleted tweet from members of the NJEA. Now, I tried to reach out to the governor's office. I tried to reach out to the NJEA. They blocked me on social media after I reached out to them. And it's hard not to be cynical when you do that. I've been advocating to try to normalize these students' lives as much as humanly possible. So I'm pro-choice on that. I'm trying to get back to normal. And when the governor chooses that, and I hope he chooses it fast, that we try to normalize children's lives as much as humanly possible. Thank you.
Vita?
Can you repeat the question again so I can hear the second part?
Yes. Masks are made to protect others, not the wearer. How do you feel about the governor's mask mandate for schools? And what other COVID precautions would you support, if any?
So I spoke a little last night about how I feel about masks. I feel like masks should be a choice. Unfortunately, it's a state mandate. It's coming down from the governor. It's a law. We have to follow it. It's what our district has to do. I wish it was a choice. If you don't feel comfortable, wear your mask. If you're a staff member who doesn't feel comfortable, you can wear your mask. Same thing with students for their families. I just wish that some people did have the choice. As far as any other COVID precautions, I feel like the board has done a great job with the hand washing, the sanitizing, our plexiglass dividers. I don't really have any major other precautions that we haven't put in place as a district that I've seen that I think is necessary right now.
Great, thank you. This next question is just for Judy. So Judy, you mentioned 3 years, but in case anyone came in late, please let them know how long you've been on the Board of Election. What are some of your goals when you first were elected? And have you seen any of your policies brought to a vote and passed?
Actually, I did not, I've been on the board for 10 years. I was elected in 2011, 2014, 2017, with the change of the election going from April to November, November to April, and April to November back, we gained another year. So I'm 10 years on the board. Policy, it's not up to one person to develop a policy. It takes the consensus of at least 5 people to change a policy. So what I could tell you is that I've advocated for change in our special education department. Just recently, from some of my very aggressive advocating, our CPAC is starting to really develop and really take off. That's the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee in the district. Our policy book is up to speed. It's it's pristine. I mean, you can, we know, board members know the difference between policy and regulation because of all the policies we put into place. And we have open discussions, as you guys saw at the last meeting. We had a policy about removing the open public speaking 2 sessions from 3 minutes on agenda and 5 minutes to the public, to just 1 session, 5 minutes to the public. I try to make sure that the policies are appropriate and that they're well written and also well discussed on the board. I really do. I go above and beyond. I research with school boards. Thank you. And I also speak to school boards about sharing that information, and they tell me it's easy to digest for anybody globally. So if I could just explain that for a minute, because today I was told that I plagiarized something, which I did not. I got the information from school boards. I have to tell you, matter of fact, that it was shared on the website. It's public knowledge. And I spoke to the executive director of New Jersey School Boards today, asking if I have to come out and say that I cited something. I was told no. He is happy that I shared the appropriate, accurate information with everybody in the community so they could digest it. And he actually applauded me. So I just wanted to take that minute to say that, because I try to do the right thing. I try to follow the rules. And one thing I make sure is that our policy book is up to speed, which it is. Thank you.
Great, thank you. This is a question for everyone. What are some of your specific goals if you are elected to the Board of Education? And we'll start with Robert.
Well, it's a good question. I think one of the things that needs to happen is you need to be elected to the board first to see what areas need attention. At the present time, from talking to parents and staff, I think that the COVID issue is obviously front and center. So that is something that I would like to, dive headlong into. And also, I think that extracurricular activities need to be taken a look at. And also, we just passed a multi-million-dollar referendum, and I'd like to make sure that the money is spent in the right way, focusing on the tenets of the referendum.
Great, thank you. Alan, you're next.
Yes, I think there is a lot of need in our community and certainly all across the US for universal pre-K. What we have currently is not available to all students in Clifton. I think with assuming some of the federal programs that are about to be voted on, if they get through, there'll be funding for things like universal pre-K. So I think that would be very useful to help implement throughout Clifton. And also, I know we have a rather robust after-school program at the Boys and Girls Club, but I think I've heard also there is a need for more of that. And that might be something we can also get some federal funding for, to expand and help an after-school program as well for parents. And secondarily, I would also think vocational training is something we need to look at again in school. Are we preparing students that are not college bound for the kinds of jobs that there are today? Things like software engineering, medical technology positions. Thank you. And I think that's an area that we can look at that would help improve the results for non-college bound students.
Great, thank you. Alan, Mark?
Yeah, as I said previously, I want to put our children first. One of the major reasons I ran was back in August 2020, when July 2020, when they swore up and down they'd have a safe option for the parents to come into the classroom, and then they have an option if the parents were still concerned, they don't want to take the risks, they were allowed to stay remotely. 2 weeks before the school year started, somebody must have gotten into the superintendent's ear, and they were unable to open remotely. But magically, by October 15th, they had a crystal ball, and they said people could come in for a few days before they started closing the schools again. And so my main objective is try to normalize it. And for those parents that are still concerned, I want you to have an option to still have remote learning, and that still isn't a possibility. So these are the things I'm fighting for. And I'm also want to confirm that students have the tools and skills necessary to be kind-hearted, productive, successful adults upon graduation from high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Avraham.
My three priorities are: number one, the students. They're always the priority. That's making sure all students have their educational needs met. Fighting for special education, children who learn differently, make sure they are getting the services they need to achieve and to get the best education to their abilities. Number two is being physically responsible with the taxpayer money. Taxpayers are not just the piggy bank of elected officials to just keep doing things. It's actual real money of real hardworking citizens of Clifton. So we got to ensure that we are spending that money appropriately and getting the best possible results for all students, making sure our students are prepared to be functioning and active adults in society. So those are the two. And number three would be absolute transparency with the stakeholders, the parents. That curriculum is published. They should know what it is. They have a say in it. And that's what I'm going for, is to be as transparent as I can, physically responsible as I can, and fighting for the needs of every student, but especially those who learn differently. Thank you.
Thank you. Vita, you're next.
I have a couple things. So aftercare is one of my major things. The district gave this up quite a few years ago, and it's solely on the Boys and Girls Club. It is in huge demand in our large district. Parents have been on wait lists forever. I wish that somehow the board can get involved so that it's not solely on the Boys and Girls Club. They do an amazing job, but it's a large task. That is one of my major things. Safety. I know that the board is currently looking at all the traffic patterns at all the schools. My main concern is pick up and drop off, the safety of that, how we can help our families to make it an easier process and make it flow. Another one of my things is student retention. I would like to see someone who lives in Clifton start in kindergarten and stay all the way through 12th grade at the high school. I'd like to get a retention committee ready. I would like to see that how we can attract families to stay in Clifton High rather than go to PCTI, or even the younger kids not going to charter schools. I'd love to see them take advantage and see how wonderful our district and public schools really is. Another thing is my training and resources for our staff, because for our kids to be successful, our staff needs to be successful, and they need to be provided with the best resources. And then my last item is resources and communication. Since Dr. Robotosi took over, I think our communication level has been amazing and has gotten so much better, but I still feel like there are a group of parents that we've not been able to reach, and I'd like to see us continue to do that. Thank you.
So I spoke about this last night about having the.
Judy, that's it. That was some of the goals if you were elected to the board.
Yep. Okay.
And you had the last question.
Do you want me to speak about what my goal will be for this year?
If you can keep it to 30 seconds.
Sure. My goal is to rebrand our high school and our jewels of Clifton. I spoke to the superintendent about it again today. We had a detailed conversation about giving the brand from the high school level and the middle school level so we can attract students to stay. Marlene is absolutely 100% correct. We need to retain the children, and I agree with her on that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No worries. Thank you. Okay, so Mark and Robert, this is for you. There have been times where the board has been divided and not work well together. How will you contribute to the healing of this board in order to unite a group with such disparate views?
I think if we could do that by discussing things we could agree about. Everybody over here, to my understanding, they want the kids to be well-roundedly educated, well-roundedly educated, be nice to each other, and have a great shot at being successful, being the next Jeff Bezos, being the next Elon Musk, being the next Robert Johnson, next Jay-Z, the next Jay-Z, or the next Beyonce. These people are wonderful people. They've specialized in their things, and I don't know how their education was, but it was good enough that they were able to become very wealthy and become philanthropists themselves. So I think that's what could bring us together, things that we do have in common. And I think there are plenty of things that we can work on with those. Thank you.
Robert?
Yes. One of the things that I've been known for throughout my 45 years of dedication to the kids of Clifton is being a consensus builder. Every organization that I've belonged to, including the Board of Education on my 2 terms, have relied upon me to be someone who, because of my makeup, is one that looks to find the things that we have in common, and that is first and foremost the kids, and to use that as a stepping stone to try and solve some of the issues that may separate us. And I've had some success over the years in being that consensus builder, that individual who brings people together. And hopefully, if I am fortunate enough to be elected, I will have that opportunity to do that with the board as of January.
Great, thank you both. This is going to be for Vita and Avraham. The school dress code has come up again and again. It's as a hot button issue. What are your thoughts on the need for regulating the length of a skirt or the width of the straps on a tank top? Does Clifton's dress code go too far, not far enough, or is it just right?
I go first, or ladies first?
Ladies first, I guess.
Okay. So, looking at the dress code policy, I don't necessarily think that our dress code policy in Clifton is broken. I do feel that maybe we're not enforcing it enough. I do feel that maybe some staff members may be uncomfortable addressing it. So I think this might be a place where administration needs to step up and they need to address it more. They need to address it with the families. I know my husband working at the high school, I know it's harder at the high school. A lot of kids have their own way of dressing. So I think it's something we need to enforce a little bit more and address, not necessarily change.
So school is preparing people for life, and almost everybody I know has some sort of dress code or uniform they have to wear for work. I'm a nurse practitioner. I work in a hospital in an emergency room. There's a certain set of scrubs I have to wear. Some of the other jobs I've had require me to wear a white coat and other things. So everybody at life is going to have to wear a specific type of uniform or dress code. So, we're preparing kids for school. To start getting into the nitpicking of lengths of skirts, I don't know. As a father of a young daughter, I'd probably be a little disturbed if I got a call and said somebody measured my daughter's skirt and said it was too short or too long or anything like that. It seems to irk me the wrong way. So maybe we do need a little bit better being a little more clear in the policy. And like Vita said, maybe a little better training for staff to say, hey, this is where we see it. You don't need to really measure it or go so far. Or possibly the idea is, and this would be, again, a discussion with all the stakeholders, aka the parents, maybe the appropriate thing is to switch to a uniform where everybody's wearing the same thing and we're going from that. But then again, that's a discussion that would have to be had with the parents and see how they feel about going to that level.
Great, thank you both. This next question is for Alan and Judy. What do you know about critical race theory, and how would you respond to a citizen who complains about it?
Critical race theory. I'll go, Alan. I'm sorry. This is the issue that I got in trouble on last night. because somebody said I plagiarized. So I don't have anything right here, so I'm not looking at anything. Critical race theory is not taught in the Clifton Public School System. It's not mandated by the state, the NJSLS. Diversity and equity is mandated by that agency. There is a distorted concept out there that we are teaching it, we are not teaching it. It has become a crucial issue in a lot of different districts, causing people to come to the mic and really get upset. So I can assure you, I spoke to the superintendent again today. It is not taught in Clifton. If somebody has an issue, they can come to the mic, they can email the board. Anytime anybody emails the board, I send that issue to the superintendent for him to handle. But I can tell you one thing, that it's going to be a more hot topic as the months progress, because it's becoming a very unsure, volatile issue that people don't really understand, formed in 1970 for higher education law students to discuss and actually argue out critical things about critical race. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to be totally honest. I don't know the ins and outs of critical race theory. I do know that I hear all sorts of definitions from all different people. Doesn't seem to be a uniform one that the public has. I think it's been hijacked politically in a lot of ways, and is really a political hot button. But what I think is important today, and this is what is mandated through the state, is diversity and inclusion parts of the curriculum. It's also things that are adopted throughout corporate America. And it has to get back also to some of the issues earlier about diversity of the teaching staff, et cetera. This is going to be a part of curriculum. I think we need to do professional development for teachers to help them learn how to integrate these kind of issues into their teaching. And I just don't want to put a label on CRT because, again, I think it's totally misunderstood. But the fact is today, diversity and inclusion, these are issues that need to be part of today's curriculum. Call it what you like, but it's not something that is the political hot button that CRT kind of explodes amongst everyone.
Great, thank you both. This is a question for everyone. Everyone always asks about what you'll do for our children, but how about how our staff is treated is also important. A district that takes good care of its staff attracts high quality candidates. How do you think that Clifton could improve things for our teachers and other staff in order to be a more attractive district in which to work? Robert, please go first.
Sure. You know, as a retired human resources professional, I could tell you that, you know, the truth of the matter is that you get a more highly motivated workforce and have better morale when you treat people professionally. I feel as though the current board has done a good job in negotiating contracts and you know, things of that nature. But there are other ways that we can, you know, help them, such as encouraging professional development, encouraging teachers to attain their master's degrees and higher. So, you know, there's a bunch of things that we can do. And I would like to lend my expertise in the human resources area to that particular issue. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Alan?
Yeah, could you give me the question once again? I just want to make sure I addressed it right.
Yes. Okay, hold on one quick second. Okay, how do you think that Clifton could improve things for our teachers and other staff in order to be a more attractive district in which to work?
Okay, well, I think there's probably two facets to that. And one is one that probably more difficult to talk about because it involves compensation. I think we need to look at compensation in neighboring districts. I think we need to be competitive. That's part of what boosts people and makes an issue with retention in the system. But beyond that, and equally as important, is the work environment. And that has to do with how the culture that's created within the school system, amongst administration, amongst supervisors. That's something also that corporate America has gotten quite good at, making sure that staff is included and that they feel that they're a part of a culture that is welcoming and is really out for their best interests in the long run, both professionally and personally. So I think it's a combination of both things, environmental and also compensation should be looked at.
Great, thank you. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think retention is critical. There are lots of wonderful teachers. Even when I was going to high school, they're vice principals now. I spoke with one earlier this summer, and she stated that something around, I hope I got this right, I believe 35% of the staff and teachers in Clifton they graduated Clifton High School, which is tremendous. So they knew. I think just the Clifton pride itself helps, but I think there needs to be other retention policies in place. Alan said it's an uncomfortable topic, but it's all about the Benjamins, right? So I don't know if a perpetuity or an endowment could be created, something to try to give bonuses to these educators and staff during some point of the year in order to attempt to retain them. Last time we heard, Mark Zuckerberg donated $100 million to the city of Newark schools. Can anybody even tell they did it there? So maybe I'll just reach out to some billionaires, see if they could pony up something to this wonderful school district over here, and see if we could set up a perpetuity and an endowment for Clifton Public Schools. Thank you very much.
Avraham.
Yeah, thank you. Retention is a #1 hot topic in almost any industry. I work in healthcare, specializing, like I said, in emergency medicine, and that's always been, how do we keep nurses in the ER? ER is known for very high turnover. And I know for when I worked as an ER nurse and speaking with other people, the two things that everybody was most concerned about was obviously #1, pay. They want to make sure they are paid fairly. So as long as the pay rate here in Clifton is competitive with other districts in the area, it's good. But the second one, and almost as important, if not more important, was being appreciated for the work they do. And that's not always about money. That's a lot of times about the small things. It's the thank you in the morning. Hey, we appreciate what you're doing. It's a coffee on a random Tuesday. Somebody brings in some coffee and donuts. It's, making sure there's nice teacher lounges where teachers can take a break when they need it, where they can eat their lunches in peace. So it's a lot of times the small things, and they don't always cost that much money to do, but it shows our staff that, hey, you are the most important partner here with us in educating the children. So what can we do to make your job easier? Is it getting you school supplies? Whatever it is, let's find those little things that say Clifton is better than any other district to work in because we appreciate the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Vita.
I have a couple of things. So not only are we losing students to PCTI, we're losing staff members to PCTI because they are paying for some positions $10,000 more in the same position that we have in Clifton. So again, like we've all mentioned, pay increases is a big thing. Obviously, that is a hurdle with negotiations and taxpayer money and what's in the budget. We have to try to retain our staff. How about our substitute teachers? We should look into paying our substitute teachers a higher per diem rate as in other districts. I believe there's one district local that pays $250 a day. We can retain our subs, and perhaps we can take those subs and hire within when our positions open because they're familiar with the district, they'll stay with the district. How about communication? How about our staff being more supported by our administration? That would be a great thing. Respect. If we could show, the district's been doing a great job with communicating, but I think we could do even better with our staff and letting them know things a little more in advance than we let our families know. Another thing is wellness days. Recently, a district that I spoke to has a wellness day where they have yoga classes on a professional development day. They have a yoga instructor come in. They have a Reiki instructor come in. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. They had volleyball games, basketball, and it was dress comfortable, come in for professional development and enjoy your day with just activities for your mind, your body, and your soul.
So speaking about raising sub pay, I know it's being looked into because we have to be competitive with the rest of the community because we don't want to lose to other districts. So it is being worked on, but I can't say any more about that. It's kind of hard to, I want to say it, but I can't say it, but it's being looked at. Wellness days, they send out a weekly email about wellness, but we can do more. Just recently, we changed the policy to have teachers allowing their children to come, out of district teachers that live out of district, bring their children to the Clifton Public Schools, because we all know what happens with a teacher that lives out of town and has to bring a child to a different school, and then they're late, they hit traffic. So we have a couple of students that are in the high school now. I can't say who they are, but they're growing, they're progressing, but the teachers are happy. So we need to bring the warm and fuzzy into the teachers' world. And how do we do that? First, our home and schools are the front line. They do that very well. Thank you. But we also need to be better as a district. And I agree with Marlena that we need to bring other things in. We just had a terrarium making project at work. It was virtual at home. It gives me a lot of joy. Why can't we do that on our level as well? So that's basically it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That's it of the questions. Y'all did really well. Everyone kept them under the time limit fantastically. Great answers. Thank you all for coming, participating. Thank you to the Clifton News and Community group for putting this together. I want to encourage everyone to get out and vote. I love going door to door to remind people to vote. And then I also like to tell people, hey, there are also ballot questions. So just, look at those ballot questions. Don't forget to vote on those as well. Thank you, Tova, for asking me to moderate. And with that said, I want to give everyone a minute to make a closing statement. So again, we're going to go down order the ballot. So Mr. Robert, you will go first.
Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you to all for this opportunity tonight. As I mentioned several times, I'm a two-time Board of Education member, and I'm hoping to make it third term. That's up to the electorate, of course. But I hope that the fact that I've spent 45 years dedicated to the youth of Clifton will be important to them, as is my background in human resources management. And I just hope that, the effort that we all put into it will be borne out on election day, November 2nd. So please consider me number 2 on the ballot, first for our kids. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Alan.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who helped make this forum possible. I am coming to this with absolutely no experience, obviously, on sitting on a school board. I do come with a lot of life experience that I think I can apply to the position. And I just offer an opportunity here for a fresh set of eyes, some open ears, and a new voice on the board. I would appreciate the opportunity to serve Clifton and the school system. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Mark.
To the city of Clifton, you're going to have somebody who has more incentive than almost anybody on this panel here tonight. Since I have my own child attending Clifton Public Schools, numerous nieces and nephews, bunch of godchildren, I can guarantee I will fight for your kids' best interests, their education, your concerns. Vote line number 4 to put our children first. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night, and I love you. I love you all.
Abraham.
Thank you, everybody who's watched this till the end. Much appreciated to listen to myself and the other candidates and hear what we have to say. Thank you to Tova, Clifton Community News, Barbara, and Ivan for arranging and hosting this event. It's much appreciated to get this opportunity to present my ideas to the voters. I'm just going to repeat what I opened up with. I'm running to represent us all, to represent every citizen of Clifton, every stakeholder in the education of our children, which is the most important job of this Board of Education. I pledge to be physically responsible with taxpayer money and recognize you work hard for your money, and we will use it responsibly to educate children. I will fight for the educational needs of every single child in Clifton, those who learn regularly, those who are gifted and talented, those who aren't going to college, and those who have special learning needs. I will ensure that you are getting the best possible education to be the best possible adult and member of society going forward. And lastly, I pledge to be transparent. My phone number will be available. My email address will be available. You have an issue, reach out to me. I will do my best to change it. I will put whatever information available to the public out in the public. School curriculums, whatever it is, I will put it out. I would be honored if you consider me as one of your 3 votes for the Board of Education. Abraham Eisenman, line number 6.
Thank you. Vita?
I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity for being a part of this. Thank you, Tova. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Ivan, for helping. It's been a pleasure working with all of our candidates again, our second night in a row together. Great job, everybody. And I also just want to say that I have 4 boys in district. 4 boys, 3 in district, 1 husband who's a staff member. I want to give back to the district that has given my family so much, not just for my kids, but for my husband for the last 18 years. My major thing is I want to be that voice for parents. I want to be that voice for our staff members. As an HSA president, I see it all the time. Parents bring up something that they might not necessarily feel is important to bring up at a board meeting or to reach out to administration. And I might mention that. I mention it at our HSA meetings. Judy can vouch for that. I mention that at our referendum committee meetings. Tova can vouch for that. I want to be that voice. You have an issue, you have a problem as a parent level, come to me. I want to be that voice. Remember, vote number 8.
Thank you. Judy?
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Tova. Thank you, Barbara. Great event. Everybody did very good. Very proud of all of you. It's not easy to get on these events and in these forums and talk and answer questions. It's very nerve-wracking. I've been volunteering since 1995 in Clifton. I've given my heart, my soul. I've given my time, my energy, and my effort. I want to continue for 3 more years. I have a lot more energy to give. I want to be that voice for the parent. I want to be that voice for the citizen. I have 10,403 reasons why. I have 10,403 students that are my kids that I worry about every day on a daily basis. I have every staff member that I worry about every day on a daily basis. I want to be that voice that continues to be outspoken. I'm not afraid to stand on my feet. It does get misinterpreted at times, but I'm a very passionate person. I do this because I care about you and your families and the taxpayers and the staff and the children. I can be reached at 551-223-9149. You can call me anytime. I'm sorry about my camera going off and on. I'm multitasking. My ADHD kicks in while I can handle things. But I want to say thank you to every person on this Zoom. And I'm going to challenge you that after the election, if you're not successful, that we keep on seeing you. You keep on coming to the meetings. You keep on speaking out. You keep on bringing ideas, because I know one thing: if I'm successful, I'll keep on doing that. If I'm not successful, you will have my promise that I will be there at every meeting, speaking up for the rights of the people in Clifton. Thank you. Number 9 on the ballot.
Okay, Yvonne, thank you so much for offering to help us and doing an awesome job moderating. To all of you, thank you so much for making time to be here tonight. I really, really hope that people out in the community take the time to watch this, because we'll learn lots of stuff about you, which is the entire point, so that everybody can be an informed voter. Barbara, thank you so much for bringing this up to me and helping me to put it together. It's great that we've had multiples of these, and I do want to remind everybody that there are 2 more chances to hear from the candidates. There's a ballot box, which we don't have an air date on yet. And next week, the Palestinian American Community Center is hosting an event. I believe that one is in person. Is that correct? Okay, so there'll be more information about both of those coming out, I'm sure. Thank you again, everybody. Have an awesome night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.